In this video, what I want to discuss is the delusion that some of the Democratic people have within the Democratic Party when it comes to the Republican Party, when it comes to reality, when it comes to what's going on in the real world with dealing with real people, real emotions, real feeling. It's as if they are in their own little bubble and reality does not exist there. So I'm going to start off by showing you several different videos, and then I'm going to come back and talk to you.
We in a bad position. I'm telling y'all right now, everything that was happening back in the Donald Trump days, the whole George Floyd days is coming back. Police immunity. They have the United States Supreme Court. They have the Senate, and they have the House, and he's appointing people. I don't even think they're going to confirm everybody in the Senate. You know what I'm saying? People are already getting ready to resign from their position and post. Democrats always want to sit there and play nice and abide by. They don't play by Republican rules. That's why they always lose. You know what I'm saying? And they getting ready to eliminate everything as you know it. So we're gonna be. We would be lucky to be in a constitutional crisis. But we won't be in no kind of crisis like that if there's no constitution. And you finna see them governing in a manner that you had never seen before. And it ain't nothing we can do. And it's real. And all of this stuff right now, everything that's going on right now, is the quiet before the storm. You make sure that you keep this video. This day is the quiet before the storm. This is crazy. We can sit up here and talk about him being a convicted felon and every damn thing else. It don't matter. It don't matter. And you finna see something you ain't never seen before in this country. Hell, you think you think it was something in the '60s? You finna see some stuff. I wouldn't be. And why everybody acting like this? They so surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they say buses for black people and buses for white people and black people got to sit in the back of the plane. I would not be surprised. It's going to be a lot of stuff going on. It's going to be a lot of death. It's going to be a lot of killing. It's going to be a lot of black people that say, hey, I'm not my ancestors and I'm not going to go through this. Some black people going to die before they go back to being anything close to slavery. And you're going to have a bunch of racists out here that just out here killing black folks knowing that ain't nothing going to be done about it. It's going to get dangerous. So enjoy this quiet. Enjoy the last few months of this Biden administration because you're getting ready to see something you ain't never seen before. You can sit up here and talk about, y'all can sit up here and make posts and make videos about all of this stuff and all of these people who he's appointing. We are headed into a dictatorship. So I don't know if you got avenues to get out of the country or save your money or be prepared to defend yourself and defend your family. It's open season. And once he gains control of the military, and they already have control of the House, and he are only appointing people that's going to be loyal to him and not the Constitution, to him. Only going to be appointing people that's loyal to him. See,
now, rapper Cardi B was so upset that people don't care what she thinks about politics, she posted this message before having to delete it a few minutes later.
This is why some of y'all states be getting hurricanes. That's all I'm going to say.
Pretty disgusting stuff. Florida, Louisiana, Texas, and North Carolina had all just been called for Trump just before she tweeted that.
Fortunately, this video is real.
The president of the Chino Valley Unified School Board of Education, which Chino High is part of, says they are looking into this.
Teachers are not supposed to bring their political views, whether this is, on something else or specifically on this election. It should never happen.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I have a daughter. I have 3 aces. He raped them. And it's people are voting for him. The Christians are voting for him. Some losers.
God knows.
When you were a lawyer for the state of New York, you filed briefs against the state of Texas, against the state of North Carolina, again, advocating for biological males to use girls and women's restrooms. And, the thing I find troubling about these arguments is it seems the women and girls never have any rights. That the girls that would like to shower next to someone who is not a biological male, who would like some privacy, their rights never seem to matter. And your pattern, it's not a single case. It is across 3 jurisdictions over and over again. In the Texas case, the brief you filed said, quote, there is no data or tangible evidence in support of the claim that allowing people to use bathrooms corresponding with their gender identity will lead to increased violence or crime in restrooms. Do you stand by that statement?
Thank you for the question, Senator Cruz. Again, as an advocate, you advocate for the positions of your client. I haven't been an advocate for 3 years. I've been a judge, and when
3 years is not very long. And my question is simple: do you stand by that statement?
Senator Cruz, it would not be appropriate or consistent with my ethical duties to my former clients to comment on my personal views about any case that I worked on. What my duty was to advocate zealously for my clients. I have set aside the advocacy role, and I now occupy a judicial role. Where what you're
Judge, your brief also contended, quote, in states where anti-discrimination protections are already the law, the predicted safety harm has never materialized. You made a bold, aggressive, factual statement, by the way. In North Carolina, you said safety concerns were, quote, unfounded. You were an aggressive advocate, an activist advocate. And I believe the statements that you represented to the court, and those are statements that you're making as an officer of the court, I believe they were false, and they are extreme. You testified to this committee that you were not aware of what happened in Loudoun County until this morning. I find that remarkable for someone who has spent years as one of the leading activists for allowing transgender biological men to use girls' restrooms and women's restrooms. In Loudoun County, Scott Smith, who's the parent of a 14-year-old girl, alleged the Loudoun County School Board covered up the sexual assault by a gender-fluid individual against his 9th grade daughter, who entered the girls' bathroom in a skirt. And this individual was charged with 2 counts of forcible sodomy, 1 count of anal sodomy, and 1 count of forcible fellatio. The school district covered it up. They released this sexual predator, and the predator committed sexual assault again, twice. Why did you represent to the court that concerns about violent sexual predators committing violent crimes against young girls are unfounded and speculative? Why did you represent that to the court?
Thank you for the question. I advocated on behalf of my clients based upon the data that we had at the time, and I zealously did so in those cases and in every other case that I handled.
Were you right?
Senator Cruz, it would not be appropriate for me to comment on the merits of any personal views regarding litigation that I handled on behalf of my clients.
Well, these little girls who were sexually assaulted will have a very different assessment.
Senator Cruz,
these little girls who were assaulted. Thank you for your views, but
you're past time. Let's afford Ms. Thomas an opportunity to respond to your
perfectly welcome to respond. But as I said, the little girls who were raped in Loudoun County would have a very different assessment of whether this threat and danger is speculative or not, and you're more than welcome to respond.
Thank you. I will just conclude by saying again that I understand the difference between being an advocate and being a judge. I am a judge now, and what I'm guided by is the record before me and the law, and that is what I do now, and it's what I'll continue to do if confirmed.
Thank you.
As you can see in the video with Rickey Smiley, like I stated, the black Democrats are trying to race bait. The same thing they're claiming Donald Trump is doing, that he's race baiting when it comes to white people. He's race baiting when it comes to racial tension, when it comes to the white people, racial white people. The black community in the Democratic Party is doing the same thing. It all starts with what you keep saying. If you keep saying certain things over and over and over again, people are going to start believing that. So they keep pushing this agenda towards black people who are Democrat and who's falling for the information they're putting in front of them, as far as, because Donald Trump is now going to be the vice president starting in 2025, that he's going to bring back what was going on in the 50s and 40, 50, 60 with that separation, separate but equal. There's going to be black and white water fountain. There's going to be black and white buses. There's going to be that separation between races, and black people are going to lose a lot of things they gained throughout the years. One of the first things they forget is the Republican Party is the one that freed the slaves. It wasn't the Democratic Party that freed the slave. It was the Republican Party. The Republican Party gave black men the opportunity to vote before they ever gave white women the opportunity to vote. This is the Republican Party. So before you as a black Democrat start believing that, please look at history. Not what I'm saying, not what Rickey Smiley is saying, but please go back and look at history as far as who helped free the slave. Was it the Democratic Party or was it the Republican Party? That's one. Two, he cannot just go in there and change everything that the Constitution has put in place when it comes to having a democracy. He cannot go in there and start making these changes, because you have to understand there's different people there that's not going to agree with him. They're trying to say he's getting everyone that's going to automatically agree with him. Even his vice president, if you look back, you can see that he did not agree with everything Donald Trump said. And that's who Donald Trump chose as his vice president. So just look at things that's going on. Those times are not coming back. Like he said, you need to get your weapons together. You need to get to the point where you can protect your family. You need to stock up on. That's fear mongering. That's putting fear in people's hearts, putting fear in people's mind. And then when you look at the video with Cardi B, she must forget she has fans that are Democrat and Republican. She has fans that are poor, middle class, and rich. She has different demographics of fans as far as where they live in the United States, as well as in different countries. And when you say something like, that's why some of your states experience hurricane, yes, but at the same time, what do hurricanes do? It brings destruction. It brings the disaster. Some people have lost their lives in the last two hurricanes that hit within this year. Some people have lost their homes, everything they own, everything they worked for, everything they built up, they lost it. Some people lost their business. Some people, in one swoop, some people lost family members, their home, their business, everything they had, everything they loved is gone. And then you're going to make light of it because of these states not voting for Kamala Harris. That is so disrespectful to this country as a whole, because we're supposed to pull and come together, especially in that. It should be that way all the time, but especially during national disasters. But you're like, that's why that happened to those states, because y'all voted Republican? Really? It's like, but you want people to come see you, right? Regardless if they're Republican or Democrat, you want them to buy your music. You want them to come see you if you're having a concert. You want them to support you. You don't say, hey, only the Democratic people come support me. You want everyone. Then show that same respect and love to everyone. And understand, national disasters destroys family, destroys people. It hurts. Then you see with the teacher. He is a teacher. He's not supposed to bring his emotion, his feelings, or any of that in the classroom. He's supposed to go in the classroom to teach people, because because you got to understand, these are kids. So therefore, they did not vote for Republican or Democrat. Their parents did. And if that child is walking in with that hat, unless there's a standard as far as certain things you can and can't wear to school, if he's not breaking those rules, there was nothing to be said to him. I understand like some teachers don't want young men wearing hats, regardless of what the hats say, wearing hats inside the classroom as, respect. If it was about that, then you should say, hey, young man, take the hat off. You can't wear hats inside a building. That's one thing to say as respect, but getting mad because of what the hat said, because you voted for Kamala, then to say that the reason you voted for Kamala is because you're trying to protect your daughter and you're trying to protect your niece because you don't want them to be violated, and then you're saying actually Donald Trump is going to come violate them. The chances of Donald Trump meeting your daughters and niece are slim to none. That's one. Two, what about these young boys that can just wake up in the morning and say, I'm a girl, I identify as a girl, so now I should be able to use the girls' bathroom, the women's bathroom, the women's locker? What about the young girl who is actually in school because of the policies that the Democratic Party is pushing onto the world, to everyone, regardless how they feel, regardless if they reject? Then you get insulted if you say, no, I don't want my daughter in the bathroom with a boy. He should not be here. I don't care how he identifies himself. He was born a male. There's only two genders, male and female. And how the teacher was getting upset with Christians because they voted for, because he's saying they voted for Donald Trump. In what world is it okay for a young man to go into a bathroom with young girls and no one sees anything wrong with that? You as a father who's protecting your daughters and protecting your nieces should look at that and say, that is something that I don't want going on in the school system, regardless of the school system, regardless of outside in the world. That should not happen, because I want to protect my daughters from men being able to see them taking showers, being able to see them using the bathroom, being able to, because suppose your daughter or your niece is in the bathroom with a grown man and it's just them. You don't know what's going to happen, what may happen. So like I said, the threat isn't Donald Trump. The threat is whatever man is in that bathroom with your daughter because you was okay with that. Whatever man was in the bathroom with your niece, boy or whoever was in that bathroom, that's your threat. And that's what Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party is okay with. And by you supporting them, you're okay with that as well. And then you see when the Democratic Party is asked simple yes and no questions, they can't even answer that, regardless of how intelligent, how many degrees, how long they've been in school. They can't answer simple questions. And the reason why is because they know they're wrong. There's no justification for the things that they do. So when you ask them simple questions, they do not have simple answers. They just go around in circles and never answer the question. And so she could not even, as a woman, understand how a parent would feel knowing that their daughter was art in the bathroom of a school. And the school did not protect the daughter. The school protected the predator and released him to be a predator and go after another prey. That's delusion. And people who see that as delusion don't want to live in that world. They get mad at them. They get upset with them. They want to call them names. They want to stress out. If you want to live in your delusional world, you have every right to do so, but you do not have the right to push delusion on everyone else and expect everyone else to accept your delusions. That's where reality won out. That's where people said, we're tired of it, we don't want this anymore. That's why they voted for Donald Trump over Kamala, because they want to get to some type of normalcy again and get out of this fairy tale fantasy world that everyone else is living in, and they want to get back to the real world, what's going on in the real world. Romans 1:28, King James Version. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient,